I, female 29, knew from a young age I didn't ever want to have or raise children. I met my husband in college, and he was decidedly child-free too. We got married a couple of years back. My husband's younger sister, 24, has 3 kids, a male kindergartner and a male and female toddler, with different deadbeat guys. 2 months ago, she left all of them at our house, said she was going to go on an errand, and never returned. Just left. We filed a report and everything. Last we heard, she was safe, but didn't want to return. My husband's mom is a minimum wage worker, barely scraping by. She was a single mom and didn't want to raise these kids. I don't want to raise them either. Don't get me wrong, I feel bad for them, but raising kids is a huge responsibility I don't want to take up. In the 2 months they were here, our expense has increased. We had to buy them clothes and stuff, and they're sleeping in our living room on air mattresses. We only have 1 bedroom. I had to work from home and look after them because my husband couldn't work from home, and daycare for 3 is expensive. It's been rough to say the least. It's all on me. CPS got involved and asked us whether we wanted to keep the kids. I do not. I thought my husband would be on the same page, but he wants to keep the kids. CPS has asked us to decide quickly and make necessary changes. Get a bigger home for one. My husband and I have gone back and forth on this. I cannot live the next 16 years like this. Raising kids is hard and expensive, but he wants to be there for his family, which I get. So yesterday I told him I wanted a divorce, quickly, before he made any commitments and dragged me into it with him. He called me an idiot for divorcing over kids, for abandoning him when he needed me. I told him he knew my boundaries well in advance, and this was a commitment, children, that he was unilaterally deciding on. Am I the idiot for wanting to divorce my husband because he unilaterally decided I would sacrifice 16 years of my life, career, and health to assume a mother role he knew from the get-go I didn't want in my life? Edit. I basically don't sleep for more than 3 hours and am on the verge of losing my job. That should explain how much I get to work. The sister is safe? Great. Maybe she can use her newfound freedom to take on a couple of jobs to earn money to pay child support for her own kids, or get thrown in jail for being a deadbeat mom. You are not the idiot, because forcing someone into parenthood is also bad for those children. If you're ill-equipped or unwilling, those children will be the ones to suffer for it. They deserve parents who want them wholeheartedly and nothing less. It would be better to end this marriage before the resentment of the situation takes over your life. He wants to keep the children, but you have to accommodate and take care of them all day long. If you want to shut this down with your husband, ask him who he thinks is going to stay home and take care of all 3 kids, since you can't afford daycare. I tell him that if I'm allowed to go to work and he's going to stay at home and take care of the kids, then no problem, because you know darn well he won't agree to that. I don't think it's about shutting him down. This is just a tragic and awful situation. It's commendable and understandable that the husband doesn't want his nieces and nephews to be taken by CPS and thrown into foster care. It's also understandable she doesn't want kids. He also may not have thought that far ahead yet, but it's also possible there are government programs or subsidies that can help given the situation. There may be a solution, and they may get divorced and end up wanting different things here, but the only villain is the sister. And hopefully, they can at least work together to figure out a transition plan for the kids who are innocent in all of this. Everyone is calling the sister an idiot, and she is, but those kids had another parent too. When do the deadbeat dads have their comeuppance? It just angers me that people call for the mother to be arrested for child abandonment when the fathers also abandon their children. Like, I'm not defending the mom. They're just all trash. Imagine as a child that your dad leaves, your mom leaves you, your grandma can't take you in, and then your uncle and auntie give you up. OP got dealt an awful hand, but the kids got even worse. It's no secret that I'm not very strict with my kids. 2 boys, teenagers. They don't have a curfew. I don't get mad at them if they don't get good grades. I don't ground them, and they have girlfriends I allow them to have over. Yes, I know my older one has smoked weed, etc., etc., etc. And guess what? The boys are typical teenage boys, but they're kind-hearted and sweet. We have an excellent relationship, and they're actually home more often than not. While we aren't strict parents, we also taught them to be kind, generous, and respectful. And it actually worked, though we do have some bad days, but no one's perfect. I have a friend who's a great mom, but she and her daughter cannot stand each other right now. She complains about being unable to connect with her, but I don't say anything because every child is different, and I also don't have any daughters. My parenting style won't work on every child either. This friend came over for lunch, and both of my boys were home. One of them had their girlfriend over, and we chatted briefly before they both went upstairs to my son's room. My friend looked shocked and said, "You're seriously going to let them be alone in his room?" I just said, "Yeah." And she was like, "I could never do that." I just laughed along with her. Then my eldest came downstairs and says, "Hey Mom, I'm ordering food. Do you want anything?" I said no thanks and turned back to my friend, and she looked shocked again and was like, "But you cooked food." I told her he was old enough to eat whatever he wanted, and he's ordering food with his own money that he earned. So why would I stop him? It's not like it's a special occasion, or I specifically cooked food for him. Besides, what I cooked was just fancy-looking grilled cheese sandwiches. My friend made a face and kept telling me that what I was doing wasn't right, and that I was acting like their friend, not their parent. And even teenage boys need rules to become good people. I tried to change the subject, but she wouldn't let it go. So I said, "I'm sorry, but I'm not taking parenting advice from you." She went quiet before yelling at me and saying that I was the weird one, not her, and that I couldn't be serious. I told her she should probably leave, and she said I should. "I didn't know you were such a mean person. I pray your kids never talk to you again when they realize how much you failed them." Now, I'm not asking for judgment about my parenting, but am I the idiot for what I specifically said to my friend about her parenting? I feel a little bad because it is a sore spot, and she's not a bad parent. She said this, "I pray your kids never talk to you again when they realize how much you failed them." That is an absolutely horrible thing to say to someone, especially someone who's apparently a friend. Not the idiot at all. Your boys sound like good kids. She sounds like someone who recently realized that her problem with her child are a direct result with her authoritative style, but isn't really dealing with that, and so is lashing out. She needs your boys to hate you because your style of parenting is what her daughter wants, and it's working for you. But she's mired in her style, and on some level, she fears that her wish for you is precisely what's going to happen to her. Bingo. I had a similar experience with my parents. I'm now 33, and I still have a long list of normal experiences I never got to have when I was younger, like having posters on my bedroom wall, throwing a party, or flying a kite. OP, you found a method that works for you and your family. Stick with it. Honestly, it's really short-sighted of your friend to complain that her parenting is going poorly in one breath, then insult yours in the next. She had it coming. My mom named me, teen male, Cassian, after her mom, my grandma, Cassie, who died when Mom was 7 years old. My grandpa remarried after Grandma's death, and my mom and her stepmom never had a good relationship. My step-grandma tried, but she was always insecure and jealous that my mom thought so much of my grandma and never saw her equally. Mom and Dad wanted to name their kids after people they lost, so I was Cassian, after Cassie. My step-grandma always had a visible dislike for my name. I remember being 4 or 5, and she tried calling me Tommy. Thomas, Tom, Tommy are in no way part of my name, so it always seemed weird. I don't remember how long it lasted, but it was long enough that it stood out to me as happening for a while. She cringed whenever someone called me Cassie or Cass for a nickname. I didn't like her doing that, which made me dislike seeing her and Grandpa. She stopped with the Tommy stuff for a while and then tried to get away with calling me Bertie. I told her I didn't like that and she needed to call me Cassian or Cass. She told me she'd like me to have a different nickname, and I said no. I don't want some random name as my nickname. Grandpa asked me to compromise, and I told them they could call me by my name or I'd tell my mom. Mom didn't hear this stuff typically. The most recent time she did this was 2 years ago. I decided to say screw them in my head, and now I haven't spent any time with them since. Mom never really visited, but now she always makes excuses for them not to visit. We only see them now during family functions. Grandpa contacted me a few days ago and asked me if I would come to stay with them some weekends. He said my step-grandma was feeling abandoned because it was apparent none of the grandkids were interested in spending time with her, and he thought it would be nice for me, as the oldest, to set a good example and help them out. I said no. He told me I could do this small thing for them, and I owed them that much. I said I owed them nothing when she constantly disrespected me by calling me by a different name and refusing to listen when I said I didn't want to be renamed with a nickname. He said she's my grandma, and I said no, she's not anyone's mom or grandma, and she's still bitterly jealous that grandma hasn't been forgotten, and that's not our fault. He told me I was being disrespectful, and I could hear his wife in the background. He called to tell my mom, and she backed me up and told him to leave me alone. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your name is Cassian. If she wanted to give you a nickname, she could do what everyone else does and use an actual nickname, sweetheart, honey, lovely, etc., not a new name. How is Bertie or Tommy even close to Cassian? If she resents your name, that's for her and her only to deal with. You can't just rename someone because you don't like it. Your name is yours. She has absolutely no right to change it. Sorry you're going through this. Cassian is a lovely name too, by the way. Some adults have some very strange ideas about what disrespect by kids is. Sadly, your step-grandma is going about things so badly when she likely does want to be a part of her husband's family, but it's entirely on her and her disrespect of your name that you don't want anything to do with her. You're right. You don't owe her anything. The audacity of some people. I would block both of them. I, 32 male, am marrying the love of my life, Yael, 31 female, next spring. We live on the West Coast. However, we're having the wedding in Florida because that is where Yael's grandparents and great-grandmother live. It's crucial for us that they were there because they mostly raised her. I have a larger family, and I'm not close to most of them because they're the worst. One of my cousins, 22, non-binary, is angry about this for obvious reasons. I get that the situation there is crappy, as I didn't invite them. They don't have to go if they don't want to. The cousin decides to try and put me on blast for the wedding location. I posted a rebuttal. I didn't invite my cousin because of something they did 4 years ago, which was making a prank video where they tricked my Jewish girlfriend, Yael, into eating pork. I still have the video saved as evidence of why my side of the family sucks. I don't want someone who pulled a stunt like that anywhere near my Jewish in-laws, so I posted that, and now everyone my cousin knew is turning against them. My cousin called me freaking out because their boss saw it, and now they got let go. I replied that it sucks to suck, and hung up. I think I'm doing it right by protecting the people I call my family, but some of my friends think I went into overkill on the video since it cost someone their livelihood. Not the idiot. Your cousin brought it down on themselves. They didn't need to publicly blast you, and you don't need to protect them from their own misdeeds. The pork prank is deeply offensive. You aren't having the wedding in Florida to spite your cousin because they're non-binary. You aren't inviting them because they purposefully engaged in having your fiancé break one of her religious taboos without her consent. As a Jewish person, this is horrifying to me. I can't imagine feeling so violated and then having everyone see me being so violated. Honestly, I can't believe Yael didn't press charges. Honestly, if she doesn't eat pork, she could have become gravely sick, like hospitalized sick, because her body couldn't process the pork. LOL, LMAO even. As someone in the LGBTQ plus community, I cannot fathom people who belong to this persecuted group harp on about our persecution and then do purposeful harm to other historically oppressed minorities. Actually, I can. It's probably the blatant narcissism. Enjoy your wedding. My husband, 35, and I, female 35, have high-paying jobs and are child-free. My brother, Charles, 37, and his wife, Bailey, 36, are both middle school teachers with 3 kids. 2 months ago, Bailey asked if something was different about me since I looked so refreshed and glowy lately. I excitedly told her I started using an acne medication prescribed by Derm. I joked that it's like the fountain of youth in a tube. I explained it's helped so much with my hyperpigmentation, fine lines, wrinkles, etc. It's made a pretty huge difference, in my opinion, and it's pretty affordable. She was like, "Wow, really? Maybe I'll check it out." I told her she totally should, and I highly recommend going to an appointment. Bailey gave me a ring a few days ago and told me she could get an appointment and prescription after being more frugal with their spending. I told her, yay, let me know how it goes. However, she said she didn't realize it would be so expensive for a tube, $140, and asked if I maybe have a spare bottle. She said she thought it was affordable and wasn't sure what to do. I apologized and said I didn't really have any spares to give her and said she should check out GoodRx for some coupons on the price. I also apologized for saying it's affordable and meant that it was a good price for me and wasn't thinking with my comments. She got quiet for a second and then snapped. Right, we get it. You guys live like freaking millionaires while we're in the trenches. Her outburst took me aback, and I didn't say anything. She said I was being a witch for not trying to help her out, and said it was my fault for misleading her about the price in the first place. She said she saved for weeks to get that appointment. I told her we could continue this conversation later because I wouldn't sit here and be insulted. I hung up. She later texted me an apology, saying she'd just been so overwhelmed with the kids and her body postpartum that she took it out on me. She then added if I could loan her some money, she'd appreciate it, for a medication she really needs. She joked we could use it as a tax write-off like other rich people. I didn't reply to her text. My husband agreed that she's being ridiculous and acting like this is her diabetes medication when it's purely cosmetic. He agreed to not give her a cent for this and ignore her. My brother asked me if I could just do them this favor, since it's pennies for us. They also had spent weeks saving for an appointment with the dermatologist, since they thought the med would be affordable. I told him I had already apologized for saying it's affordable and didn't appreciate being insulted and given backhanded comments by his wife. Am I the idiot? Edit. It's tretinoin for those curious. Not the idiot. It's not pennies. All your hard work has got you to where you are. If she cares that much, she should try to go back to school and become something that pays more. Tough crap. They made choices to be precisely where they are right now. I don't care if you're the richest couple in the world. It's not your responsibility to help with a darn acne cream. I could maybe see if this was a life or death medicine, but come on, acne cream she's tripping about? You suggested a miracle cream and stated it was affordable without realizing it wasn't affordable for them. She got hurt and lashed out. You both apologized. Family is family, and tensions run high at times. If you can afford to make her day and buy her one tube to try it out, then she can budget to get it herself. It doesn't take much to be kind to someone else, especially someone you'll be associating with for years. Do you want LP to pay for her treatment forever? Because one thing is you giving her as a gift for her birthday or Christmas. Another is spending $140 a month, every month. And seriously, 2 working adults can't afford $140? OP, your husband's comment about how this is pennies for you was unnecessary. If you're worried about your brother's finances and want to help, focus on things for the kids, such as clothes, toys, or after-school activities, or even good health insurance.